Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I am currently about, what day is it today? Today's Thursday. I am 4 days away from starting my Valencia Marathon training. At the moment I'm doing what I call playtime. I'm just going out with my runs. There's not any strict structure. There is a little bit of structure to my running, but there's nothing strict about it. It's kind of go out and do it on the fly. My weeks are made up of predominantly easy running, and if I can get a little bit of marathon pace miles in here and there, that's great. And then if I can fit in a little bit of intensity, that's fine as well. And that brings me to why I'm making this video today. It's just talking about the importance of pacing in your marathon training. I think for the most part, for most people who are doing the marathon, there's no point in the race you're going to be using any sort of intensity. You're going to be cruising along at a pace that should be very comfortable. It might not be comfortable when you get up around 37 kilometers into it, but for the most part you should be really comfortable running at that pace. And that brings me to what I'm going to talk about today. I was doing a set of 500s, or a set of 800s the other night. I just did 5 of them, and I was just cruising along kind of like half marathon pace. So running 5 times 800 at half marathon pace should be a relatively easy session, especially if you're just about to start marathon training. If you can't do 5 sets of 800 at half marathon pace, well then, you should really revise your marathon time. But I was coaching my club as well, so I worked as a coach for the running club, and I was doing a similar type session. So they're all about 4 weeks into Dublin City Marathon training at the moment, and those guys were doing 7 times 800 the other night. And a good few of the guys were like really pushing the intensity, kind of pushing it. One person actually said to me that they were doing the intervals faster than 5k pace. And it got me thinking, what happens then is you change the intensity of the whole session. So instead of it being a good kind of high-end aerobic workout, which is exactly what you want for your marathon training, it turned out to be a much more of a glycolytic session, so much more of a VO2 max session. And those guys are going to be pushing paces that, one, are never going to be required, and two, aren't going to be able to be sustained over the course of a marathon. So what they end up doing is they end up doing training for a 5k instead of training for a 42k, because like I said, you've just totally and utterly changed the whole reason for doing the session in itself. I don't want to say you've ruined it, because you will get some benefit from it, but the benefit that you want and the benefit that you need is not going to be attained by pushing the pace to a level that is, like I said, is either not required and not able to be sustained throughout the course of a marathon. So if anybody's watching this, if you're doing a marathon training program, if you have a coach, or if you're following a program that you downloaded online or somebody gave to you, it's important to try and stick to the pacing sessions as much as you can. They are there as guidelines, and yes, pace is something that you earn. It's not something that should be dictated to you. So you really need to earn your pace. And if the pace seems that it's too fast or too hard or too much, what will usually happen is that the session will be too hard and too much, and that's where it leads to kind of low motivation, because as it gets harder week on week, then you get less motivated to do it, because you don't get the enjoyment from doing the run that you have planned to do. So yeah, so it's important to kind of find the paces that are written down for you, that you're trying for. If there's a certain time you're trying to go for, but if you're doing your intensity sessions midweek, whether they're 800s or 400s or 1k repeats or 1 mile repeats, if you find when you're doing them that the intensity is way too much, then it's probably what's happening is you're missing out on the reason why you're doing that session. You're missing out on the days afterwards. You're missing out on the valuable adaptations that you should be making, because you might be making adaptations for another thing. Like I'm saying, is that if you're doing those, let's say you're just doing the 800s at half marathon pace, like I said, that's a very high-end aerobic workout. But if you push the pace too much, it becomes much more of a VO2 max and glycolytic. So what you're doing is you're training, and your body's burning up lots of glycogen in the muscle stores, in the liver stores, in the blood stores, and you're ripping through that, because that's what's sustaining your run. But you're not going to ask for that on marathon day. On marathon day, you're going to be predominantly wanting your body to be burning fat stores, and that's what you're going to get by doing the high-end aerobic workouts. You're not going to get it from doing the VO2 max workouts. Not to say that there shouldn't be some VO2 max sprinkled into your marathon training. Absolutely there should, yes, but not all the intensity sessions, right? So if you have some sessions that are high-end aerobic ones, keep it at the high-end aerobic. Marathon training shouldn't be extremely difficult all the time. It should be enjoyable, it should be doable, it should be achievable, it should be maintainable. And if you can't maintain it, then there's something wrong. And if you can't maintain it, and if you're not maintaining it, and you're kind of going sawtooth week on week with how you're performing, you're probably not going to hit that marathon goal. But if you find that sweet spot with the intensity sessions, with the tempo runs, with the long runs, with the marathon efforts, if you find that sweet spot and it's working out that when it's supposed to be aerobic, you're keeping it aerobic, and when it's supposed to be up around VO2 max, that you're able to get up around those, then you're probably going to have a much better chance of delivering whatever time it is you want to do come race day. But like I said, if you're pushing the pace all the time, if you're ignoring what's written in your plan and you're just going, you know what, I'm just going to go at breakneck speed all the time, well, be careful, because if that pace might be sustainable on a Tuesday night when you're out doing your session with the rest of the club, but come race day, running at that breakneck pace is not what you want in a marathon session. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that made sense. If you are training for a marathon session or a marathon coming up in the next couple of months, yeah, maybe revise what you're doing, have a look at it and make sure that you're doing what you should be doing on the plan. Anybody got any questions, you can always hit them below. I love helping people out, so if I can help you, I absolutely will. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm getting my afternoon walk. I'm currently, my weekly exercise has increased by so much, which is great. I'm doing a lot of walking, I'm doing a lot of strength and conditioning. I'm trying to get about an hour and a half to 2 hours of exercise most days, and that's broken up into small little chunks because I just can't, because it's went up. I looked last year, my average daily exercise was about 55 minutes average each day. So you're taking days off, would have been probably around 105 without the days off. And now over the last kind of 6 weeks or so, my daily activity has been up around about, you know, an hour and a half, some days a little bit more, a little bit over that. But that's broken into, like, I go out and do 20-minute walks. This will be a half an hour walk, and then 15-20 minute strength and conditioning workouts at home, and then maybe once or twice a week getting 35-40 minutes strength and conditioning in the gym. Yeah, that's all working out so far. I'm feeling great. I'm certainly much fitter this year starting marathon training than I was last year. So things are looking forwards. Things are looking like I'm going to be able to get that PB that I want. I've got a 10-mile race coming up in a couple of weeks. I've got a half marathon a couple of weeks after that. And then I might do the Dublin City Marathon if I can get a number. I've screwed up I had a chance to get a number, I screwed up anyway. I'm sure I can find one if I really want one. And then it's Valencia. Well, Valencia Marathon training starts on Monday, and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, guys. Remember, run far, run fast, most of all, run sensible.